Good morning. My name is Ahmad Amir. I'm actively involved in the cloud computing speaking sessions in the GCC region. And today is for the first time I'm coming to India, and being an Indian, I felt like I should express my views, what is happening globally with regards to the cloud computing. So as you can see, my title is Getting the Best from the Best, Challenges and Learning in Migrating to the Cloud. Everybody has expressed their views with regards to the cloud for the past, you can say like today is like half session. So many individuals and CIOs has given their views. So I would like to express my views as I consider myself as a technology evangelist. So I will actually, my presentation, it's very simple. I'm not going to repeat the things which has been explained and expressed very clearly. So my presentation, it has three parts. The first part, I'm going to talk about the evolution of the cloud computing, and according to my understanding, it's not just evolution, also it's a revolution. So it is about, the cloud is being evolved, and also it is revolutionizing the IT and the business altogether. So as Mr. Vijay was saying, and he was explaining a few 7 steps how to migrate, so I will come to that point as well. So the first part of my presentation, it's about evolution and revolution, where I will be introducing what is the concept, and the second one I will be talking about the big data, because the big data is it is the middle part of my presentation, and the third one I will go to the cloud migration, or how we can move to the cloud. Coming back to my first slide, I call as the 5 W's. Why we have to go to the cloud, when we have to go to the cloud, and what is the cloud. Although there are so many definitions has been in the market, and Gartner, they came up with a different definition, and the US, they came up with a different definition. So there are plenty of definitions. There is not a single standard definition. So the definition itself is being evolved actually with regards to the cloud. So what I'm saying here, so whatever the first, as a neutral speaker, we need to understand, we need to have that kind of boundary, we need to have that kind of scope with regards to the cloud itself, and when and where we should go, and how we should go. That's what I will be talking in my presentation. And in this slide, I'm trying to say, maybe the last slide, I will try to talk about the ninja approach, where I'm trying to say that it's like a 9 jaws in order to chew the taste of the cloud. So in that one, in this slide, what I'm saying, data center models, whenever we have been as an IT pro and as a CIO, as a head of IT, we have been designing and deploying applications, and we have been designing data centers. So our focus was previously or traditionally on the designing the data center. Now our focus is more on the consumerization, where we are talking about the cloud-centric approach. So when you design a data center, or when you design anything, so when you are designing a service, our approach should be on the data-centric structure, or cloud-centric structure, or information-centric structure, or we are talking about the consumerized centric structure. I would like to speak a little bit about the mobile, the transformation factors which enable us today, why we can think about the cloud. So there are, I just said 3, maybe it could be more than 3 actually, but these are the 3 main factors which enable us today to think about the cloud. One is the mobile computing and the internet. I take it all to one in one. As you can see, some of the statistics, 35% of India and China only mobile computing, 35%. India and China shares 4.1 billion active subscriptions across the globe. So India and China itself is representing 35% active subscriptions, and that's a huge actually. And 60%, and this represents like 60% of world population. Recently, when the power grid off, and I saw in the Times of India like 10% of world's population is in dark. I was actually surprised. I mean, this power grid, does it really represents like 10% of world's population? And that was like a new news for me. When I start calculating, yes, the whole world population is 6 billion or 6.1 billion, and then you're talking about 14 states, yes, it looks like it is a reality of life. And there is a 1.2 billion 3G active subscriptions as of today, and that's the statistics. And the social networking, where all individuals, now the sharing habit has came up, and that becomes like, you know, a new trend which has been injected in the human life, sharing habit, and that evolves the society. Whether you talk about the Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, or whatever you call. And that is also one of the transformational factor which has evolved, and which is also making us to think towards the migration of the cloud. And as you can see, online relation, I put it specifically, and sharing habits also, as I just mentioned. There are people, more than the real relation, online relations are there. So what it means, there are so many individuals, whatever the relation, I'm talking about the good part of the relation, not the other side of the relation, online relation. So there are relations are being happening. The world came up closer. So online relation, it could be an individual relation, it could be a business relation, it could be a platform which will allow you to interact with the different geographic location individuals and with their own different interests. And the third point is the globalization and localization. I was talking yesterday with some of the gentlemen over here. Globalization has transformed Indian economy, China economy, and maybe there could be some who are well advanced and economically grown countries. They might be having some impact, but at the end, globalization has brought a lot of benefits to the society, to the country, to the nation. So, but globalization has to happen, and that's the need of today, but this should not be at the cost of the localization. We have been seeing some of the concerns over the cloud. People are talking about different concerns, whether it's a security concern, it's a privacy concern, it's a regulatory concern or hurdle, and we are talking about technological concerns also. So there is a localization, there is a ethics, there is a geographic behavior, culture, those kind of things should not be compromised when you are talking about the globalization. Yes, globalization has to happen, but it should not be at the cost of the localization. And this is one of the transformational factor for us to move to the cloud computing. And in this one, I talk about the 2 points. One is the connectivity, which is the basic necessity for any kind of online service to be given to any stakeholder. Or I'm talking about the virtual world and the real world. Both are different things before. Virtual world, it used to be different thing, and the physical world, it used to be the different thing. When I'm seeing all of my audience, we are talking about the real world where I can see you, I can interact with you, I can talk with you, I can question you, you can question me, those kind of interactivity. As you have seen, these even two reality of these worlds, whether it's a virtual world and the physical world where the humanity exists, they came closer, and there is a certain interaction is happening already. You might have seen in our one of the movie Raman. In that movie, it was trying to show how the real world and how the virtual world they can interact. I don't want to talk whether how much that was possible, but it is true, even we are standing today and we have a different kind of connectivities. Everybody is being connected to their own interest, their own families, society, business, blogs. Somebody might be webcasting a few things. So the real world and the physical world, physical world and the virtual world, it came closer. When I talk about 20 years before or 25 years before, when we talk about having connection to the laptop or to a printer, we talk about a lot of cables. The cables has disappeared, but still we have the connectivity. We have in fact a better connectivity than before. So those kind of things here. So however, that time there was a concern with regards to the security. If the connectivity is being your air or the vacuum or whatever you are seeing, then somebody can steal my data, somebody catch those signals and they can have an accessibility to my database server, to my application server, to my infrastructure, to my branches, to my financial data, and that was a grave concern. Today what we have, the security and privacy concern, they are like nothing in, if you consider this at that time. So the cloud is actually evolving. Yes, it doesn't have the answer for all of the questions because itself it doesn't have the boundary or the scope, a clear scope. But yes, it is a need of time, and everybody has to move with the air. And whether you take it or you don't take it, cloud is gonna be part of our life. Whether you talk about the personal life, you talk about the social life, you talk about the business life or an organization. So it is going to happen, the reality. And these are my personal views. The second part of my presentation, I specifically, people are, there is like a buzzword, big data. And the big data was like one of the things which it is not by choice. The data is being evolved. Some of the statistics, I think I have mentioned in my next slide. So some of the statistics, it will show how huge data we are being surrounded. 2.2 petabyte of data is being generated each day. Before, when we talk about the data, I mean, I am an IT pro. I have done BE with computer engineering sometime 20 years before. And until last year, I never know that there is something beyond terabyte. We used to see from the kilobyte, megabyte, and then we moved to the gigabyte and the terabyte. But I never know that there is something called petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, and yottabyte. And there is something more as well. So the data is being evolved like anything. And this data bulging which is happening, where are the computation infrastructure? We need a huge scalable computational infrastructure which will really make you to make the wise decisions. How many companies has implemented the BI tool? I am not aware about the Indian statistics, but I can tell you that globally there are only few companies. Maybe you can say 10 to 20% of companies who has implemented the real analytics, where they can see what is happening, what is my profitability with regards to a product line, with regards to this particular segment, with regards to this particular branch. What are the things I need to do in order to promote that particular product for that particular region in that particular season. So those kind of things that will allow a business to promote their products and to take appropriate actions in order to capture the market and capture the customers, and in order to stay competitive with regards in front of your competitors, to take large market share in the market. So what I think, that big data, although it is a buzzword, but the data is being evolved. The data is like growing some like anything. In couple of months, I have delivered 8 to 10 presentations on the cloud, and only the video recordings and different blogs and things like that. I myself am posting more than 10 terabyte of data each month on the net. So I'm not talking about maybe I could be doing something more activity, but every individual, whether it's through Facebook, through emails, through blogs, through cameras, through audios, even your family who may not be IT aware as you are, they are also producing a lot of data, and that data is being injected, and that data need to be processed. That data need a computational power, where you need a high scalable computational power. 10 years, 15 years before, 10 years before exactly, some of my colleagues, peers, they used to come to me, they used to ask me, can you please advise me what is the PC I have to buy for my kids? And that was 15 years before, if I recall correctly. And that time I used to say, whatever you are using at office, it should be more powerful than that. They say, no, they are going to play only games. Yes, only games, it requires more power than your business applications. We are talking about the DirectX, we are talking about video accelerators, lot of CPUs, lot of videos. So the computational power it is required. Actually it started with the games. And now the business also need that kind of power. We need to see our business from different angle, 360 view. Although 360 view has been came into the market a long time, but there are no tools. Even the database and the tools what we use today, they are not enough or efficient to compute the big data. And the data which I am talking about, the data, there are so many drivers of data which I just talk about it. The data is coming from the analytics, from sharing, from searching, storage. Each search, what we are doing on the Google, it is costing like billions of dollars to Google. Each search, each query. And that's like an overhead for them. So the search engine itself, like indexing, meta tagging, all of that, those buzzwords are technical stuff. It is bringing the data. Even the modern telescope, it produces the new modern telescope by 2015. There is saying it will generate as big as a 10 petabyte of data. Only one telescope. Okay, I'll move to the next slide. So what we are saying, when we are talking about the big data is not the new thing. It is the data which is in your hand, which you are seeing. But you are not, because big data has three types. One is the structured data, where you have, or I can say unstructured data. 90% of data is unstructured data, which is raw data. You are sending emails, you are sending attachments, taking photos, pictures, those kind of things, which you are not, a data which you are not using to make any kind of decisions which will bring the value and the profitability to your business or to the growth of the business. That's the unstructured data. And the data which you are talking about, analytics, BI, where you can make intelligent decisions, you are looking at the scorecards and looking at the product line, which product is doing well, which product is not doing well, which segment, which sector, which geographic region. Those kind of things, where you can make the decision, that only represents 10% of data. Although there are a lot of businesses, or there are only few businesses who is like number one and number two, and there are a lot of businesses, although they have all the ingredients. Whether you talk about the professionalism, you talk about the culture, you talk about the policies and procedures in place, they are ISO certified, they have the quality, but there is something is missing they have all the data, but the decisions cannot be made based on that data. And for me, people used to say, information is the most important. Yes, I also do agree on that. Information is very important. Information is like the source. It is like a butter and bread. It is like an air which we breathe, the fresh air. Without information, nothing can be done. But there is something more than the information. I take information as an input. But what is the information you have taken? Yes, that's good, that was needed. But what you are giving, that's the knowledge. So if you see like a dam where the water is coming, and that water will be having some distillation process, some cleaning process, some process is happening, and the output which is being given by the dam for the sake of drinking, for the sake of providing a healthy human life, and that's an output, and that's the knowledge. So information is important, but without knowledge, what is the use of information? I am taking information, but I am not acting, I am not making wise decisions. The information which has given to me, what is the use of that information? Information is there to make certain decisions. You have to do something with that information which has been given to you by all sources. So what I am saying, information is critical, information is important, but the knowledge is critical, because that knowledge will help you to benefit yourself, to benefit to an organization, to benefit to your society, to benefit to your family. So when you're talking about the big data, I mean, unstructured data is there. Yes, I have the data. Yes, you have the data. But you have not taken any kind of decisions. You have not implemented the decisions which the source, the information was there with you. And there is a semi-structured data where there is the data in the database, the information is there, the data is there, but you are not fetching the data in a way it should be fetched, where the decisions can be made. The data has to be put in the database from the data marts, has to have all those attributes which will allow you to make the decisions. The cubes, the data marts has to have all those attributes where a decision can be made at the board level, at the senior management level. What is happening today, if you see the strategic decisions for any business, just they will sit, the maximum thing you can see, there could be few iPads, there could be few laptops, and there will be a presentation, and that's it. And there will be knowledge base. Yes, I got some information from my business development director and some information from the country manager, all of that, and the decisions will be made. There is no real-time analytics where the data information will be fetched at the board level meetings within the specific time. It's not happening because the data is there. Maybe they don't have that much time to make the decision, to wait so that the real data will come, the information. So it is not just about having the data where you can make the decisions, but also it has to come within the time frame. So time is the critical factor. And I was surprised, no one talked as a time as a service. No matter whatever the service, whether it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, or data as a service, or SaaS, anything as a service, anything, but time is a very critical. Time as a service. What I would like to invite vendors to see, I mean, you have like 5 sectors, let's talk about 3. Education sector, health sector, retail sector, as an example. They should make the clouds in a way
a company who is in the retail sector, who is like a pioneer, whatever it is required for that particular sector in order to conduct the business in that particular line, all the resources should be available within that time. So the pricing or the service catalog, it should go the other way around, where you say you need to promote the retail product, maybe I have a seasonal product or Rakhi Bandhan or something. I am just doing that business in that particular time. So I go and I rent that service for that particular time. So I am paying for the time for that particular segment. And of course, it can be elaborated and it can look from the different angle as well. What is happening today? Yes, we have the service, and that's we have a project, and that project requires a lot of resources, and each resource need to be available for this particular time. Yes, that's well and good. But there is something can be done from the different angle as well. Time as a service. There is nothing important in human life more than the time. So all resources, everything has to have the time. So since the data, not only the data need to be available where the decisions can be made, but the data has to be available within that specific time. Within the time, before the end of the meeting, the data should be. So I am talking about real-time analytics. It is not just about having an advanced analytical tools to compute the data which is there, but also it has to be real time. Some of the statistics I would like to read. Human mind processes 1 petabyte per second of data, and in 1 minute it can process as maximum as 50 petabyte of data. And how big 50 petabyte of data? I just try to elaborate. For us to have that kind of consciousness, 25 trillion pages of printed text, that is the 50 petabyte of data. And it takes 665 years of high definition videos. And it is about 820,000 or 8,20,000 times of 64 GB iPhone which can be stored, and so on. It is like 2.56 billion trees turned into the paper, and 2.2 million terabyte of data is created, I just told. World information is doubling every 2 years. Economy is driven by the data. Economy, whether you talk about banking, retail, this is the only statistics which I was able to get for the 2009 for the banking sector. They, as for 2009, 619 petabyte of data, only the banks they have created as of today, as of 2009. So the data is there, but the decisions cannot be made. Our company, we are talking about different sectors. One of the sector is dairy farm, FMCG and dairy farm. We have one of the world's largest integrated dairy farm, where there are 50,000 cows. They are staying at one place. Each cow produces like 100 liters of milk, 80 to 100 liters. And that's the productivity you are talking about. So, and all the data was there.
It is there in some system, but the decision cannot be made. We don't know which cows they are producing more milk, which cows or which gen will give more milk. We don't know. So this is one of the small, simple example. So now I will jump to the IT infrastructure stuff. As you can see, we have been spending all of our time having data center facilities where you have routers, switches, LANs, internet access, things like that. And then we are putting the security appliances and things like that. And those are like a core foundation capabilities where you have service monitoring tools, all the stuff. And on top of that, We are talking about cloud services, platform infrastructure as a service, and then on top of that, the platform as a service. One of the gentlemen, he asked me, what is a platform as a service? It could be a database, it could be anything. It could be your directory services, it could be even an application server as well. And software as a service. What is the line of business you have? What are the applications which are being used in order to serve your business? Things like that. And it's like a typical infrastructure framework. And we have integration servers, we have integration APIs, and we have workflow engines and different stuff. And we are presenting that by using those application integration platforms or middle tiers, you can say. And we are presenting by using the portals through application servers, and we have business analytics, things like that. This is a typical. It has it doesn't have. So what I am trying to say, we have for the enterprise, there is a lot of stuff for users. So our focus is on the consumerized IT. Whether you are a consumer or whether you are a service provider, we have to look from the other end. We have to look what the business user want. Before, when we implement SAP, when we implement Oracle Financials or Oracle ERP, different type of applications. We used to send one user for the training or a group of users for the training so that he will be trained, so that he can perform or he can do the job effectively, so that the business can get benefit. Now it's other way around. If you are a vendor, if you are a solution provider, you think what consumer want. You have to design your database tables based on the consumer requirement. No, my database structure is like this and this is how it goes. You have to put 2 tabs and then key in the data. No, it will not be like that. So we are talking about the consumerized IT, where you take the consumer experience and build your application structure, you build your APIs, you build your infrastructure, you build your database, you build everything. So the cycle is not from the back to the front, but it is from the front to the back. And also it is like top to down and bottom to top. So it has to have a mixed, because there could be some best practices, the technology professionals, they have understood. So that need to be complemented, but not at the cost of the user experience. So we have been seeing IT infrastructure, software, applications, communication devices, and different protocols, all of that stuff. But when we are talking about opening a new branch or opening a new office or establishing ourselves in a new region, we are talking about data centers. We are talking about what about the routers, what about the servers, what brands, which servers can do well, what are the new breed of servers which can act me to reduce 20 servers. One server will act like 20 servers with the help of virtualization. So our focus should be the other side, which is cloud-centric, as I was saying, cloud-centric, data-centric, information-centric, not as a data center-centric. What I have seen actually across the different countries, people, they buy and they see how they can be better utilized. No, before you buy, you have to see what do you want. And that's what I am talking about. Please help me with the time. Huh? Oh my God, I did not touch. Okay, so I'll now talk about security and data privacy are the major concerns in the consumerized market, and delivery and operations are the thing which you have to really focus, and interoperability and integration. No matter what service, what information, if it is not integrated, if 2 pieces are not integrated, you cannot have the holistic view. Whether you talk about public cloud, hybrid cloud, or private cloud, all those pieces has to meet together. But do we have those protocols? Do we have those standard APIs which is being provided by different cloud providers? I use one API from the Google. Can I use the same API for Amazon? No. Although the data is being hosted on the SQL server over here and the SQL server over there, but still those tables are being encrypted. They have been, the data is being kept in a way, there are some prefix or there is something, random number will be generated, you may not be able to understand. Although the data is being hosted on non-proprietary database. So those kind of things we have to really come up and be conscious enough. I think I have to skip so many slides actually. What I am trying to say over here, the business part, before you think about the cloud, before you think about the technology, you think about the business first. What do I want? What is my specialty? What is my target audience? What do I want? What are my strategic goals? What are my strategic objectives? Forget about the technology. Technology will be customized in a way where it can complement to your business. You start from there. And then those strategies, and then it has to go to the CIO. How CIO can provide and what he can provide in order to complement, in order to meet those strategy objectives which has been set by your organization. If somebody asks what is the security concern, my answer is one for something for this gentleman A, and the gentleman B, when he asks, it may not be the same answer because there is a different solution. When you go to a doctor, anyway, I'm out of time, so I'll just try to, so many things, it's like half. I will just take 2-3 minutes maximum. So I'm saying, as a cloud maturity, you might have seen all of this before. You do the assessment in your data center. What are the services you have? I'm talking about the IT as an IT pro. And then you standardize whatever you have. And then you go for the consolidation. Even before virtualization, whatever you have as an infrastructure available and you virtualized, that may not be enough. Because you may have, out of 100 servers, you have 20 servers, and in 20 servers, you have 20 instances on each box. Your administration cost is same, your licensing cost is same. So there are things you have to do. And this is the cloud maturity. But when I am talking about the cloud maturity, I will come to the other slide. Challenges I will not talk. And also I will not talk about the recommendations because I talk on these things. Autonomic computing, where a system should rectify and correct itself. And there are things that has been happening today. I will talk about only a couple of minutes on this particular thing. What I am saying here, and what Mr. Vijay was saying today, before you actually start the migration of the cloud, you have to see, there are 3 steps he has shown, I don't remember. But what this framework which is gonna be evolved, and we are at a very initial phase, what I'm saying here, you use the project management methodology, which will really help you to see what is your objectives, what are your goals. And these goals, because he was saying, without having the green signal from your team, you cannot sell your idea. So that's the project management. You have a goal, and that goal need to be, that has to, there is a PMI methodology that need to be adopted before you actually jump in the migration. I am talking about the ITIL, which is good for the service and support. We have to adopt that methodology as well. Six Sigma for the process management. I am like Six Sigma and PMI practitioner. When you talk about any business, you have to see how you can improve that particular business and things like that. And adopt DMAC or whatever the methodology you have for existing process or for a new process from the Six Sigma point of view. Things like that. And then there is a governance. I would like to thank all of you. and I try to cut short because there is plenty of things need to be expressed because of the short time. Thanks a lot.